Alright guys, let's keep moving forward. Now we're getting into where things start to get a little more complicated. Up until now, our fundamental videos have been short, factual, and pretty straightforward, focused on understanding the 3 skills and the 5 fundamentals. As we move towards topics like turn shape and blending, things get a bit deeper. There's more nuance, more overlap, and more talking needed to connect the dots. But I'll still try to keep this quick, simple, and as objective as possible. So we're going to look at the 3 versions of the turn model, the PSIA turn model, the US Ski Team turn model, and finally how I want us to teach it in our program. As we level up from our level 1 fundamentals understanding and move into our level 2 understanding of turn shape and intro to blending, the framework becomes a pretty key aspect to how they function. The PSIA divides the turn into 3 phases. You can see the 3 phases here. They divide them into the initiation phase, the shaping phase, and the finish phase. The transition between the turns isn't considered a phase, it's just a connection of the phases. So let's break down each phase into simple terms. The PSIA does a great job into breaking these down into simple terms, understanding that this is going to be explaining a basic parallel turn and not as much as a performance carve turn. The US Ski Team does a great job in breaking that down. So jumping into this, the initiation phase begins as we flatten the skis. That's the edging fundamental. As we flatten the ski, it starts the new turn down the hill. We flatten the skis to release from the old turn, extending the new outside leg to begin building pressure and rotating the legs down the hill, or in a carve turn, reducing the rotation to let the side cut engage naturally. All 5 fundamentals show up here: balance, edging, rotary pressure, and there's timing as well going on in all of these, bringing in our dirt. Moving towards the shaping phase here. This is where the turn develops. We increase edge angle towards the apex of the turn. We add angulation to manage the pressure, and we move the center of mass further inside the turn, continuing to direct pressure to the outside ski as the forces increase on the snow. Moving into the finish phase, as we as the skis turn back across the hill, edge angles are reduced, pressure is released, the upper body continues leading down the hill, and we begin to shift weight to prepare for the new outside ski, which is currently the uphill ski. The transition technically starts during the finish phase and continues into the initiation of the next turn. This section here. It's the critical moment where we reset balance, pressure, and timing to set up the next turn cleanly. There's that move from the outside ski to the new outside ski, or what is now the uphill ski, and in that movement there will be a point in time where we are laterally and fore and aft balanced in the middle of our skis, in the middle of our fore aft pressure. We're going to jump into the US Ski Team model. Far more complicated, but a really great way of effectively showing a performance ski racing turn, I guess. So things have evolved as ski technology has changed, and the US Ski Team does a better job of managing that evolution of equipment. They also use 3 phases: the initiation, the turn phase, and the completion phase. They put a huge emphasis on the transition as part of the overall performance of the turn. For the US Ski Team, a quality transition is the foundation of a great turn. If the transition isn't early, clean, and balanced, the rest of the turn can't be refined. There are 3 key movements in a high-level transition. There's the weight transfer. We find from the old outside foot to the new outside foot. They recenter, finding a balanced athletic stance in between. You can see that in this frame here with Marcel, fore and aft balanced. And they realign, becoming square to this ski's direction of travel. As they move across the hill in this direction with their upper body facing along the length of the skis here, because they're perpendicular, aligned perpendicular to the slope, the gravity is going to naturally pull them down the hill and inside the turn. So we square up this way and move forward along this in order to continue directing pressure towards the outside ski as our center of mass falls down the hill. In this phase, we're moving progressively, not jumping from foot to foot. We allow the body to flow through the center and reestablish balance before the next edge engagement. If the snow contact is maintained, which you might see a small hop or a big unweighting in certain situations, but the intent is always to extend the new outside leg, build early pressure, and move the center of mass forward and diagonally into the next turn. If you're looking at Marcel Hirscher, you'll notice that the transition he squared the skis, not overly countered, setting up perfectly for the next initiation. Moving towards the initiation, it begins when the athlete is centered both fore and aft and laterally over the skis. The center of mass moves forward and diagonally in the direction of travel, not just straight down the fall line. That forward diagonal move keeps the pressure building on the new outside ski rather than dumping weight onto this inside foot here. You can see if this weight just moves down the hill, all the weight will build right on that inside foot. If we are traveling and moving forward along the length of the skis, that weight is going to naturally move towards this outside foot. Moving on to the turning phase. This is where angulation increases the most. You can see that here. As he becomes more compact and flexes more, he's going to angle more. You can see as we turn this outside leg, the edge angle will increase. So we want to have that inward turning going on. The hips and legs work together to build the higher edge angles, and they manage the pressure load on the turn. The pressure peaks near the fall line here. This is because speed increases. This is where we're in the fall line the most, so our acceleration is going to be the most. And this is where we begin to have to manage the pressure and move towards release of the pressure. The skier should maintain equal ankle flexion, a forward center of mass, and a countered upper body position to direct energy efficiently through the outside ski. It's important to remember that as we fall into the fall line and we accelerate, those skis are going to want to race away from us, so we need to be actively moving down the hill along the length of the ski in order to stay on top and centered and keep that equal ankle flexion. Now we're moving on to the completion phase. Edge angle decreases, pressure is released, and the skier's body continues moving down the hill as the skis finish turning across it. This is probably the easiest phase, but the hardest or the most misunderstood phase for a lot of people. A strong skier like Marcel here will already be moving his center of mass towards the next turn. This direction, this center of mass moving towards this next turn. Okay, this is when a little bit of counter will build. The skis will continue moving across as he is diving into this next turn. As the skis move across and under, right, and him moving forward, the skis moving under him is going to pull the center of mass aft relative to the ski. However, we are still moving our upper body forward and down the hill, but because the skis are moving under us, it'll pull us aft, and that's okay. You can see that here with Marcel here. This tip is lifting and the tail is driving. There's more pressure on the tail of the ski here, and even here, the tail of the ski is touching while the tip of the ski is off the snow of this outside foot. Another thing that I want you to notice is this outside foot has a high edge angle and it's releasing to a flatter edge angle here. It's also traveling from far away from the body. He has this big outrigger. It's traveling under the body and getting into a more square position, while this inside foot is also flattening but moving in. These skis are converging together. This causes this position here to be the middle of the transition, where we are somewhat fore and aft and laterally balanced into the middle of this ski. All right, let's bring it all together in some slow motion video here. So these are the turns that we've been looking at, Marcel, and I want us to just go through here through the initiation phase of the turn or the transition here, but we're gonna go into the initiation here. You're gonna see the skis begin to flatten. Okay, you're gonna see him building this outside ski pressure. This right leg is gonna be pushing away from him, and he's gonna be making this big forward move down the hill right there. Boom. Okay, you can see that ankle flexion. You can see this outside leg building. There's not a ton of pressure building on the snow. It's a lot of high edge angles with very little pressure, just because the fall line is away from us, so there's no gravity. Gravity is pushing the ski down the hill, and we're counteracting it by pushing it into the hill here. As we move into the turn phase, edge angle is going to increase a lot. Angulation is going to increase a lot, and we're just fighting and managing pressure through this. As we move into the completion phase, we're going to be releasing the pressure, and you can see that move up. His hands are moving up, right? As we extend and move up, the pressure is going to release. We're going to be moving our center of mass down the hill, and we're going to be preparing for this weight transfer. That's what this move is doing. He's moving up to prepare to transfer the weight from this ski to this ski. Bam, right there. You can almost see it happen. It's kind of cool, actually. You can see this ski bite in the snow right there. Kind of cool. And then this is that big transition move, right, as he's pretty much fore and aft balance and laterally balanced. You can see how aft his center of mass is over the back of the ski. That's because he's letting these skis release under him. They're continuing to travel under him as he is diving counter down this next hill. Weight transfer is happening. This is the transition, obviously. Weight transfer is happening. He's recentered and realigned, and now he's back into it. Equal ankle flexion, or beginning to get there, moving forward, building pressure on the outside ski, really laying into it here, and continuing into this turn phase again. Great. All right, and real quick, in our program, I want us to teach the turn as a continuous flow rather than separate chunks. The transition connects everything. It's the heartbeat of the turn, and the cleaner and earlier we move through that centered position, the more control and efficiency we'll have through the rest of the turn. This is what I use. This is my little Coach Kenny handbook, and it has all of this in the simplest forms that I could think of. And so something that you can take a look at now and keep on you. Yeah, I can print one out and laminate it for you if you need. That's all I have for you for turn phases. I hope that you enjoyed this and start to understand the effects that turn phases can have on the fundamentals.